At this point, we'd been in the Bay Area for quite a while now, living on and working on RadMed. We feel like we've learned so much, like we've become so in tune with the boat and learned how she sails. It's just been great. Great for our spirit, great for our sailing skills, and making sure we had no vehicle available to us to just drive us to a store just for basic things like shopping only steepened our learning curve. We've been in some pretty gnarly blows in the Bay Area. We've had to deal with situations we didn't see coming, and we've also tested our skills and sailed out of anchorages that were pretty packed, or even had a lot of obstacles, swimmers, logs, lee shores that were close by. We've started to figure out the Bay Area from the perspective of liveaboard sailors. We've learned how to provision, how to do it cheap, where to do it, and how to do it all sailing to the grocery store.
The supermarket is huge.
And we've had a great time doing it all. But this life that Christina and I chose for us, and the experience that we chose for our kids,
Come on, give me one more.
it hasn't come without its challenges.
One more Rant, baby.
If you can't tell from the videos, we're a blended family, and we've definitely had some battles to fight to give them this experience. And the way it's affected them all is profound. The way they've changed and grown, how mature they are for their ages. It's just an amazing thing to see, and we're going to keep fighting to be able to include them in this, and to include them in our future voyages. We see distant shores right around the corner. We just need to keep our chins down and keep pushing. We'll make it there. I hope you guys enjoyed that intro. That is from a home movie that this guy made years ago, but I thought it was very relevant to this topic. Off-grid living with kids. I've had numerous people request that I cover this, but they weren't very specific. They're just like, hey, can you talk about living off-grid with kids? So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to try and burn through this video, guys, because I don't know how many of y'all are going to be interested in the topic. I am going to make an assumption, and we know where that can get you, but I believe that the people asking me to cover this are interested in living off-grid, and they want to know how it's going to affect their children. And, our children are precious to us, so there's decisions we make that affect them, whether they want it to or not. So it is important for us to, they should be a part of our dream. We need to chase our dreams. We need to set a good example for our children. If this is my dream, I need to chase it. I shouldn't be stuck in some miserable position, hating my life, and modeling that for my children. I'm teaching my children to stay stuck in miserable positions and just suck it up. No, fuck that, man. Fuck that, man. Teach your kids to go chase their dream, and your kids should be a part of your dream. So you should consider them. You should think about them. And my wife and I did before we started rocking this off-grid life. So let me kind of introduce myself and talk about my history a little bit. For those of you that are new to the channel, I go by Efficient in the Field. That's my handle online because I like to have a little bit of anonymity. But me and my wife, we have a blended family. You probably got that out of the intro video, and it hasn't always been easy. I'll get into that because it's an important thing for you to consider if you're going to live off-grid with your kids. But we ended up buying a piece of property that we intended on retiring on decades in the future. And once we owned it, and it was so awesome, we just kept moving up the time frame and eventually sold our shit, quit our jobs because we were deep in the rat race, man. She was running her own business, cutting hair, going to school, and taking care of the kids and everything else because I was working in anti-assassination, and it was just brutal. My hours were brutal. And my involvement with the kids back then was tucking them into bed, if that. And so we were seeking change and seeking dream chasing. So all of a sudden we're selling all our shit and we moved up to this remote property, started building the cabin. Didn't get it done in time for winter because that's what happens when you're living off grid. Everything takes 3 times longer to get it done, if not even more, especially when you're down to using hand tools and shit, which we were doing a lot of the time. And so we got a truck camper, got on the road, got traveling for that winter, and it was amazing. It's fucking amazing, man. We got way out in the boonies where there's hardly anybody, if anybody at all, hunting, fishing, foraging, few provisioning trips. And then we changed it up as well. So my wife and I, we've done all the platforms that you're probably going to consider when it comes to off-grid living. We've done off-grid cabins. We've done truck campers, van life, travel trailers, and sailboats. And we did these for almost 9 years with children. And so we've mixed up the way that we've done it. We've done it when we're ninja camping in cities. We've done it when we're way out in the boonies. We've done the western coasts. We've gone as far east as Arkansas. And it's just been a blast. And it was awesome. It was a great experience for the kids. Great. If you're questioning that, which is probably why you're watching this video, let me just tell you that the experiences your kids would have in this kind of situation, the way that I did off-grid, which is very akin to like cruising kids. Probably haven't heard that term, but kids that live on sailboats that cruise. So blue water boats, they go all over the place, right? They go to all these different countries, and the kids are there with mom and dad, and they meet new people from different cultures, and they experience a lot of different things. And we've met a number of cruising kids, and they're awesome. There's articles written about it. So my kids kind of turned out to be like cruising kids. If you're thinking about living off grid in one place, it's going to be a little different, obviously, but I still think the kids are going to get a lot out of it that they just aren't going to experience otherwise. Think about it. If you're living in some city right now and your kids are going to public school, like they're being educated by the government for one. And you know what? If you're watching this video or thinking about off-grid living to begin with, you probably know that your government does not have your best interests at heart. They don't, right? They lie to you constantly. They're like, oh yeah, just pay us that Social Security tax that we take out of your paycheck for decades and decades, and we're going to save it and invest it for you so you can retire well. And when it comes down to it, you're getting like $1,800 fucking dollars, man. And the dollar's been devalued by inflation anyways, so it can pay its massive and just ever increasing national debt. Like, look at Social Security right now, man. You got young people paying into the system, and that money is being used to write checks for people receiving Social Security right now. There is no investment, man. There's no investment. It's totally dicked up. So do you want that system educating your children? Because it's going to tell your kids what it wants them to know. It's not going to teach them the kind of shit you can teach them homeschooling. And that's part of this topic, right? Because if you're off-grid living with children, most people doing that are going to live in a place where it's kind of hard to get your kids to a school bus. I mean, I'm not off-grid living right now, guys. I stopped doing it almost 4 years ago. I'll probably get into that a little bit later on. But I take my kids to the bus stop, and I spend an hour and a half to 2 hours a day driving my kids to the bus stop and picking them up. And it's not that far, really. So if you're going to live out in the boonies, more boonyish than me, man, oh boy, dude, it's going to be undoable. You're going to have to homeschool your children. And that's great, because here's what happens when kids hang out with adults all the time. Because think about it like this. Kids in school, who's their main influence? Who is it? You answer for me down in the comments. I'm going to tell you it's not their teacher. It is their peers. And how many shitty kids are there out there these days? There's a lot, and it's only going to get worse unless this country turns around. But their peers are their main influence. Whereas kids that are homeschooled, their parents are their main influence. And other adults that they hang out with are their main influence. So one of the ways in which living this off-grid life has affected my children is that they've been surrounded by their parents, me and their mom. We are a blended family, obviously. You probably got that out of the intro video. But me and their mom, and then other adults that were working with us and helping us or adventuring with us and that kind of thing. I remember watching my wife's son at 5 years old sit in the cockpit of one of our sailboats and explain to two guys in their 70s how you trim a sail. And they were blown away, and I was like, shit, he does pay attention after all, man. But I was blown away too, you know. He had that cool ass experience. He's raised sails on the boat, on a big boat. Sails that normally an adult should be raising. And him and his sister both. He's had to cut his own firewood to heat a 4-season tent and season it and go find it. He's had to catch his own food and clean it or forage it. He's helped work on vehicles. He's had to do all kinds of shit that normal children don't have to do. And as a result, him and the rest of our 5 youngest, that's the number of kids that we had living off-grid with us, they are extremely adaptable and they're durable. When it comes to homeschool curriculum, you kind of have to just pick what's going to work for you. It didn't take us long to figure it out. I want to say for the first year, we kind of moved around between some different curriculums. And then we finally settled on some stuff that we liked and that worked well. And I will say that one of the things we really like, because I could do a whole video just on homeschool curriculums, but one of the ones we really liked was Singapore math. Singapore as a country was top in the world for math at that point in time. And what Singapore math does is it basically shows a kid multiple ways to solve the same problem, because not all of our brains work the same way. And so if you went to public school, right, and they're like, this is how you do it, and you were just really struggling, well, you're getting that one curriculum for every kid approach, and it just doesn't work that way, man. It doesn't work that way. The same thing does not work for every child. So we homeschooled 5 of our kids. And yes, we had to find different ways with different kids to teach them how to get things done. But it made us better. I'm not going to say it's easy. My wife's ex, man, he's been a real, tried to be as big of a pain in the ass as he possibly could to this whole thing. And I should quickly let you know that if you are a blended family and you have exes and they see you living your dream, they will try to take that away from you. I don't need to get into all the examples of the shit that he's pulled, but he has definitely tried to hamper the whole thing. He has hampered it. And what he's done, really, if he wasn't so blinded, he would see this, that he has taken amazing experiences away from his children. Emergency services, that's something you need to think about. For your kids, for your wife, for yourself. Do you want to depend on Care Flight because you're freaking 3 miles from the nearest town? Think about getting your groceries. That becomes a whole nother thing if you got to drive 3 hours each way. It's like making a trip to see fucking family that's like in a different state almost. You know? So when we first started this whole thing and bought our first piece of property, we were looking for a place that was less than an hour from a town with a hospital. And my wife's youngest, the boy I was just talking about, is accident prone. So I put together a really nice big Dynamed bag. I had everything that I needed to treat any possible injuries, and also could get him to the hospital really fast if I needed to. If I was willing to break land speed records, man, I probably could have got there in less than, 30 minutes. My kids learned how to be tough. When you have a small rig and you're traveling around, or even if you're living in one place off-grid, generally, when people talk about it, that means they're going to be out there growing their own food, have their own livestock. It's not easy, man. It's not easy living this lifestyle and homeschooling kids at the same time. I know that's another thing about my wife's ex. that he just was, he's of the mind that we didn't have any better options. And so we were stuck running around and trying to survive and bullshit like that. Motherfucker, I've worked better careers than you'll ever have in your life and given them up. You know, that's the truth of it. He just doesn't want to admit it to himself. The reality is that being on the road, homeschooling 5 kids and doing all this is hard. It's not fucking easy, man, at all. If I wanted an easy life, I'd have been living in some town and had the kids in public school like him. That's what he's rocking right now. Because he doesn't have the balls to live the way that we lived. So it's not easy. You got to understand that, man. You're going to be cold. You're going to be wet. You're going to be out there doing dirty, nasty work, butchering animals, harvesting crops. Sometimes when you'd rather be doing anything else, but you have to get it done. Our kids were there for a lot of that. They experienced it, and it's made them all tough people. All of them. All of them are tough little people, man. They can dig in when they need to. And it's not, they're not all like hard and shit. I don't want to give you the wrong impression. Like, they're still themselves. They are who they are. But when faced with specific challenges that are serious, they can all dig in. The stuff that they've learned being with us out there, it's stuff that you just don't learn living in a city, going to public school, man. It's not. I remember when we were in Arkansas, and it was a bad winter. It was a really, like, the worst winter in over a century. And we spent a lot of that time at my mother-in-law's house. She had 3 extra rooms, so it was perfect. It worked out for us great in that way, and we wanted to see her anyway. So we spent like 4 months at her house, so we were on the grid during that. But we went camping for roughly 6 weeks. The kids had to get up in the morning and cook their breakfast on a fire. They learned to dig up the old hot coals and to blow on them and get the kindling and keep their wood dry. Oh boy, did they learn how to keep their wood dry and how important it was. I remember when we first got out there, I got 2 tarps, and one tarp was like for family wood for cooking dinners and evening wood, and the other one was for kid wood, just for their morning breakfast. So they had to collect their own wood, and they got a tarp just for their own wood. And I'd tell them, I'd be like, guys, it's smelling like it's going to rain tonight, and it's going to be cold, like you might want to cover up your wood. What does Dad know, right? They wouldn't listen to me. And they woke up in the morning, and I shit you not, man. There's like 3/8 of an inch to 1/2 an inch of ice over the top of all of their wood. What a great lesson, man, for kids to learn. Seriously. You know, it's the things that help you that are that important to you, like your heat and cooking your food, man, take care of it. I mean, it seems like a very basic lesson, but I'm sure the massive majority of children in the United States, I mean, probably 99.999% of them have not learned that lesson yet, and my kids know it. So there's just these things that they learn out there that are awesome, and it's a takeaway for the rest of their life, because I guarantee every single one of them remembers that shit. I'm going to get ready to wrap it up, guys, because I could just keep going off forever. And make sure you comment down below. It's always a conversation on this channel. So if you wanted me to cover some other portion of like off-grid living with kids, like let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll try and answer you down there. But, you know, one of these 5 kids got adult age. We launched her, and she's doing great. And she texts me all the time, thanking me for all the lessons she learned with us. And the other thing, too, I should kind of get into it for a minute, because we stopped living this life for a reason. We actually planned 2 years before our Arkansas trip that was going to be the last hoorah, that we were done. We're going to put the kids back on grid, and live a normal life for a while, and help them put down some roots, because there's certain things that society expects of people these days, and we want our kids to have that ability to be flexible and to know those things. And so, in my personal opinion, should you only raise your kids remotely off grid for their entire lives? Should you only raise your kids living in some city and attending public school their entire lives? I don't think so. We want our children to be versatile, man. We want them to, the goal of raising kids is that they become functional adults, and more than just functional, that they go out there and they crush it. So you want to give them a variety of experiences so that they're more versatile. My kids, we put them back in public school a year ago. We're back on the grid, and we're about to launch our second adult out of the 5. Well, we got the oldest kid who's been launched for years now. She's doing great as well. But we're going to launch our basically our third adult. And then we got 3 more to go. We got 3 more years living on grid. And the wife and I are getting back to our off-grid travels. And here's something else I'll tell you. The kids finally decided, and it's funny because we had already planned to stop, but they decided that they were done living the off-grid life. They wanted to just have a bedroom and have their own bed. And so they got that now. And of the 5 that live this way with us, I have had 4 of them come back to me and tell me that they miss the way we used to live and that they wish we were still doing it. And the 5th one, that one that hasn't said anything, you know, she's pretty tight-lipped about the way she feels about things. So I don't know. But, you know, whatever, guys. We gave them a whole bunch of interesting skill sets. We taught them how to live cheap and to live free and to love every single day. And we got to live our dream while we're doing it. We're going to go back to that. But they're all stronger people. They're all great. I can't wait to see what they all turn into as adults. And I wouldn't have done it over a different way. I'm glad that we did it exactly how we did it. And I mean, I guess I would say that I wanted to do more traveling to like other countries and shit like that. But my wife's ex kind of stuck a fork in that when he wouldn't let us take the kids out of the country. He said he would, and then he pulled the plug. We got passports and everything, man. We paid for it and we were ready to go, and he pulled the plug last minute and filed with the courts. So again, like I said, blended families, man, you might have that additional challenge that you have to deal with. So that's it, guys. I think I'm going to wrap it right there. I hope that helps somebody out, and I hope that's what you were looking for. Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, check out my Patreon, link in the description. Guys, it's a great way to raise kids, living your dream. And if that's what you want to do, man, I say chase it. Don't wait till they're grown. Like, go get it now. You might have some difficulties if they're older and they're set in their ways, but there's magic. There's real magic in being out there in what's the real world, not the man-made world, but the one that God made for us. There's real magic there, and your kids will see it. They just need to get away from their tablets and their Xboxes and all that shit. All right, dudes. That's it. I'm going to let y'all go, man. I'll see you guys in the next video.